All right, so our last speaker of the evening, it might sound a bit counterproductive, but the title of this presentation is Paper is Profit, right? So you guys think, oh no, we're trying to limit paper, no. But there's a reason why this is important. So I'm gonna let Jonathan announce our next speaker.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about this one, guys. This is a guy that I met through a person that I met at Tech Alley. Who's afraid of the IRS, by the way? Like, show of hands, when tax time comes, who is afraid of the big bad IRS? So this guy that's going to come talk to you is not afraid of the IRS, I'll tell you that. I have a lot of skill sets, but one of my weak spots in business was financial management and planning, understanding where my money goes, how to navigate the loopholes of the IRS system. I met Randy, and he was able to take my last 3 years and did his magic, taught me the things I needed to learn, and got me $55,000 back this year. So this guy knows
need to pay attention to this one.
He knows what he's talking about. I'm really excited to have him speak tonight. This is Randy McKee. Give it up for him.
Give Randy a round of
applause.
applause.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Okay, everybody, I want y'all to wiggle in your seats. Move around.
Wake up.
Do some waving. Woo! Do some whatever you got to do.
Yeah, wake up, everybody. Wake up.
When I was a kid and entered school, the teachers used to say I was spastic. All the girls said, "Ew, that guy's hyper." Later, they labeled me ADD, which became ADHD. Now everybody just says, "That dude's crazy." So I have to move around. So you're just gonna watch me walk around a whole bunch here. So, a little bit about me. I'm an enrolled agent, IRS highest tax credential. Big difference between me and a CPA is a CPA is licensed, I'm certified. What's the difference? Certification shows specialized expertise. A license is issued for public safety. So a CPA is licensed to protect you from him. Think about that for just a minute. You're using a CPA and everybody thinks they're the know all the taxes. They go to school for bookkeeping. They're a degree in bookkeeping. I have the equivalent of a degree. The colleges don't have a degree in taxes, but I have the equivalent of a bachelor's in taxes. That's all I've studied. So I'm an E. I passed a 3-part exam called the Special Enroll Exam, and it's equal to the bar for tax preparation. So I would have the equivalent of a law degree in taxes. I have to continue 72 hours of continuing education every 3 years. Have to go through a background check, all this stuff. I can represent you in all 50 states. A CPA can represent you in the state he's licensed in. Mm-hmm. Big difference between the two. Not a tax preparer, a financial planner. What's the difference? Most preparers file what you bring them. They're going to just tell you, oh, no, you bring the shoebox and they say, this is not deductible, this is not deductible. I don't do that. I say, what's your business? What are you doing? Let's figure out a way that we can make your business make this deduction deductible. So I'm molding you into the deduction, molding your business into the deduction so we can write those things off. Who loves saving money? Especially when it's taxes, right? Uh-huh. So, yeah, see, I explain every decision. I want you to be informed. I want to partner with you. I want us to work together to build your business, to save on your taxes. I want you to be informed so that you can make an informed decision. I'm not going to tell you what you need to do. All right? Most firms disappear after April. I'm available all year. CPAs, state license, we talked about that. I have unlimited IRS rights across all 50 states. They give you really generic tax advice. I've had people tell me all the time, oh yeah, I have a corporation, I need to make it an S, and they have no idea what that means or what the results are. Sometimes you need to be a C, sometimes you just need to stay a LLC and be disregarded. There's all kinds of information that has to be gathered. It isn't just about your business, it's about your personal situation. Does your spouse work? Do you work? Do you have W-2 income? Do you have dividends or interests or stocks in other businesses? What other income do you have? Do you have children? Are those children college age? Well, I can go on all day long. I'm asking these questions because they all matter for you so that we can make the best decision for you. So I'll deliver a complete financial plan for you built on your goals. So who wants to drive a fancy sports car? Who does? Who wants to have a nice home, maybe, or retire early, or go to Hawaii, or Sweden, or wherever? We all want those things, and if we plan those things with your business setup and management, we can obtain those things and save on your taxes in the process. What a deal. So, let me ask you a question. Who here knows about Christianity? I'm not saying you're Christian, I'm just saying know about Christianity. Who here thinks, by raising your hand, that the Christianity would exist if the Bible didn't exist? No Bible, no Christianity. So on that note, let me redirect for just 1 second. I want to just say one thing about LLCs structures. LLCs, companies, incorporations, Inc., or corporations. When I refer to those, I'm just going to probably say LLC. I'm referring to both structures. Both structures are different from a legal perspective. They offer you different management options, and they do offer you somewhat different asset protection. But they're both a structure designed to protect you and your assets. Okay? So that's where I'm going to leave that discussion at this time. I just don't have time to really go into all of the aspects of why you would want a corporation over a company. All right? And then when we start talking about S Corp, C Corp, disregarded entities, sole proprietorship, partnerships, all sole proprietors, all these things, when we start talking about them, those are tax designations. Either the corporation or the company can make that designation. So they're two completely different things. Legal structure, tax. All right, that's all I'm going to say about tonight because I just only have time to go any further into that. So I'm going to also ask you, if you have paper and pencil, keep it handy. If you have a question so that you can write it down and ask me later. Because when we look to set you up, we got to look at all your situation. There's forms that are going to be free for you to get access to that you're going to want to fill out so that I can give you, when I give you a free 30-minute consultation, I want to make the most of that, and I need that information in advance. So, you own a business. So who here, by their hand, has a business or are starting a business? How many of you have a structure set up, either an LLC or a corporation? How many of you have a binder? Jonathan, where are you?
Right here.
Show him a binder, what a binder looks like. Do like on The Price is Right. Do like on The Price is Right, you know, do this kind of thing.
Somebody stole his binder.
Oh, is it?
I had it. Sorry, I was filming you. Sorry. This is the binder.
Kind of open it up and give them a little bit, peek inside a little bit. So who has one of these binders? I see 2, 3, 4, 5 hands maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who uses the binder?
Well, we're going to get into
Mine's
that.
electronic, but I have it.
It's just a suit.
So, all those people, let me see if you can. Hands that have a binder. Keep your hand up. When's the last time you filled out a form in your binder? In the last 12 months?
Yes. Yes.
1,
Yes.
2, 3, 4,
That.
5. If you're not doing annual meetings, if you're not holding them, a attorney can pierce your corporate veil, meaning no asset protection, technically. How many have resolutions for the deductions they take? No resolutions, no deduction. Okay, most LLCs are formed, almost none are maintained. 95% of the clients that come to me do not have, at least 95, don't have a binder. And the ones that do, probably another 2 or 3% of them don't have them managed properly, maintained on an annual basis. So they assume their LLC automatically protects them, but it doesn't. Think about your driver's license. You have to renew it every so often. Your LLC, you have to renew it every year, but there's also things that you have to do. As we get older, we have to go in to renew our license and have our eyes checked, or things like that happen. So there's more that has to be done other than just renewing the LLC. The LLC that almost cost my client everything. Client arrived, no binder, no documentation, no compliance. Their LLC had not been renewed with the state because they hadn't been doing their annual meetings. One person injured, and everything that that person owned could have been taken because they had no asset protection. Of course, I was able to go back and fix this retroactively because I know how to do that, and got all of the paperwork done and caught up. It wasn't cheap necessarily, it wasn't super expensive, but the point is what he could have lost. The cost of the fix was a fraction of what they stood to lose. Everything. So what's in the business operating right? What's in the binder? Articles of organization, operating agreement, annual meeting minutes. This is really key. Annual meeting minutes. I'll say it again. Resolutions, right here, right there. They are the key to unlocking your deductions. Who gets a deduction for Disneyland? I do. I go to my son lives in Orlando, so I go to Disney World and write it off. My wife's from Brazil. We go to Brazil, write it off. You bet. Buy a new car? Heck yeah, write it off. Home office, health and wellness. I want to get a book on frickin' auto mechanics. Write it off. Go out to eat? Write it off.
Drive your car?
My home, write it off. The car, write it off. You bet. I'm thinking about buying a cyber beast. Write it off. Yeah. Okay, so one of the things that we have to consider is your tax classification. And again, that's S Corp, C Corp. Disregard all of those options. And that's going to be really specific to your situation, especially when we're dealing with intellectual property. C Corp is the default answer, and that's right most of the time. But sometimes there are things we can do before we make that C Corp designation, and we might want to do them depending on what other business activities you have going on or what your circumstances are. And of course, we have to keep the state records compliant and in good standing. So, resolutions unlock your deductions. Here's just a fraction of possible deductions. Health insurance, I like HRA, health reimbursement account. I can go buy birth control for my wife and write it off. I get a headache, Advil, cha-ching, write that sucker off. I'm gonna write off every last little thing that I can write off. Does that become difficult paperwork-wise or bookkeeping-wise? Not if you know how to do it. I know how to do it. Home office, vehicle, travel meals, retirement, resolution, continuing education, and we can go on. You think of something, clothes. Clothes, I have clients that get all their clothes. I get some of my clothes. If I buy a new suit, because I'm supposed to be in a suit, no, it's not me. But, nice dress shirt, I get to write those things off because I need them for business. 2 layers, both require the binder. So, what is the best thing? If you had one thing to protect your assets, what's the best thing? What's that word that starts with a T? No. Trust. Yeah, that's the best thing, right? Who agrees? Trust is the best asset protection? Wrong.
No.
Trust gives you this, outside protection only. Protects your personal assets from business liability from somebody else coming after it. But it doesn't give you inside protection. What is inside protection? Well, that's kind of like your home. Somebody come onto your home and fell, and let's say you have family members come over and they are spending the week or whatever. You live in Salt Lake. Well, you live here, and it rains and it turns to ice. One of the rare times that happens, and they slip and fall. That's not outside. That's inside. They can sue you and take your home. I got family members that would do that, so that's why I say it. So again, we go back to the formalities. Let the formalities lapse, and an attorney can pierce the corporate veil. Here's the key thing. IRS wants to see you involved. They want to see your work, not mine. So if your attorney prepares your annual meetings for you, you're not involved. And an audit, your head's right underneath my foot. So the structure determines the savings. There's disregarded entity, the simplest. There's times when that's the appropriate structure that we want to use. Especially when I have a nail tech, single mom, 3 kids. I want to set her up as an LLC, but disregard it. I get most of the deductions that an S corporation would get, but she still has earned income, so she qualifies for what?
Yeah, I see.
That's right, earned income credit. If I make her an S corp, she doesn't qualify for that. And I just cost her $7,000. So that's the appropriate structure in her circumstance. S corp is probably the majority. Partnerships, if there's 2 people not in the same family, very difficult to make this work. Very difficult to keep them together, because one person's not going to feel like they're getting ripped off. They're doing too much work and not getting enough pay. C corp, when we're dealing with intellectual property, again, that's where we're going. So here's a $100,000 agency. This is net after direct expenses. What's the difference? Direct expenses are something you have to keep the business open. If you're driving a taxi, you got to have a taxi. That's direct. Indirect is health expenses. You got to be healthy. You got to go to the doctor so you can drive the taxi. So after direct expenses makes $100,000. With a properly structured LLC, there is, look at that number, properly structured with the proper selection, proper management, proper resolutions, all of those things being done, there is $15,000 to $30,000 in savings. I'll give you a quick story. A couple came to me, lived together, not married. She made $110,000 W-2. He made $106,000 veterinarian. He paid $6,000 in taxes. She paid $26,000 in taxes. Because he had a business and he had Randy. let me go back. Right there. I save my clients more money than my fees. Every time. Sometimes it takes 2 years. On rare occasion, it takes 2 years to recoup the upfront costs. But almost every single client, 90% of them, the first year I save them more money than what my fees were. The IRS doesn't warn you first. So, if you get an audit, all of a sudden a letter comes. If not a letter arrived tomorrow, could you pull out documentation for every deduction you've claimed this year? With my system you can. With my binder you can. I've had 2 people get audited. 2 businesses get audited. One, he knew he was going to fail because he hadn't kept his receipts. He was an electrician. He'd go buy something at Home Depot, go over, stick the receipt in his pocket. He'd be outside sweating. The receipt would run. He'd do whatever he was going to do, and the receipt was worthless. I told him how to fix that. He didn't do it, so he paid some money. He knew. The next client, she did everything I had asked her to do. Business audits 3 days, 8 hours, 3 days. The auditor that did her audit had been doing it for 23 years. 3 audits a month. For 23 years, that's, I don't know, a lot. At noon on the first day, she called me up screaming. Screaming. Joy! Joy! She was happy. The audit was over. The auditor said in 23 years he'd never had somebody so prepared and everything just in order. He ended it. He took my name down because IRS keeps a naughty nice list just like Santa Claus. So 3 steps, 1 direction. Free discovery call with me, 30 minutes. Find out your situation, get some advice, get a plan started. Number 2, gotta have that structure, LLC or corporation. You gotta have that asset protection. The LLC and the corporation protects your asset inside and outside. You have to have that. This is the key to everything. Save on your taxes. Reduce your taxes, there's more money for you to put into the business. The business grows sooner, makes more money faster. You see how that just works? It's that circle. It's like a wedding band. It just keeps going round and round and round. Only this wedding band doesn't cost you anything. Oh, that's a really bad comment. Oh, my wife's gonna kill me. And 3, year-round partnership with me. I'm available to you all year round. I'm here for you. There's a limit on how much time you're going to get from me without having to pay some extra for consulting fees, of course. But I am the one you talk to. Not some secretary, not some junior person, not some nobody. So here's for 3 free resources. This QR code. Now, Jonathan, you said this is like on their portal?
Yeah, it's also on your portal if you guys go in there under his card, but you can get it accessed there too.
There's an LLC documentation checklist, top 10 reasons to use an enrolled agent, and business deductions cheat sheet.
I don't see many people scanning that. I would be scanning it if I was you guys. Who has a business here? Okay.
Go back.
Oh, go back.
Go back.
I'm going to go back.
Okay.
There's the 3 free resources. Am I on
John
anybody's
has a
way?
question. Okay, hold on.
I have a question. Are you experienced with the Corp C with the ROBS program?
With the what program?
ROBS, R-O-B-S.
I don't know that program.
Right?
Can you tell us what that program is?
Yeah. It basically means that if you're retired or you work at a company and you have a 401, you can actually use your 401 and roll it over into a corporation to use it as an investment, to use it to run a business.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, anybody could do that anyways. I don't know the specifics. I don't know the specifics of the ROB program, if it's different than just taking your retirement and using it to invest in your own business. So it might have separate, and of course, if I don't know it, I'm gonna learn it backwards and forwards so that I know it better than the IRS if that's a client that I have. But yeah, that's 100% legitimate idea and a great idea. And this is kind of one of the things why I say that with intellectual property, you want to be really careful about what you choose. So many people want to do the bailout, the qualified small business stock rules, and sell their stock. And that's the golden parachute, I guess, maybe. That's not a bad idea. But if we can fund that business ourselves and keep it, obviously it's worth more money than selling the stock early. So I mean, there's just a myriad. My brain, when it starts talking numbers, it just frickin' wants to explode. And so there's just so many things, so many factors that we want to look at. Your first call is free. 30 minutes with me. There's my website, my phone number. There's my email. Now let me tell you a little thing. Remember I said I'm kind of like just crazy? A few years ago, I got married a couple of years ago, and the wife made me shave my head. The reason she made me shave my head is I had a mohawk. I was walking and sporting that wall mohawk, and it's going white and everything, and I'm just like, I don't care. It was really funny, but anyway, so if you notice, tax and income warrior. My pitch line was, hey, if you need help with your taxes, contact Randy at taxandincomewarrior.com, where we will help you. I will save you. I will fight with the IRS for you, for sure. Thank you.
I just want to speak to that real quick, just as someone that has been through with Randy. Like, I feel like I was trying to do things the right way my entire career, but like I was doing things that I thought, I could write off, like travel or like my car. I was sitting there, who tracks their mileage, right? And like is very meticulous in it. So after speaking with Randy, he gave me the structure to be able to I throw a magnet on my car. And now with the resolution in place in my binder, every mile that I spend or drive, or every piece of gas that I buy is now automatically written off because of that structure. And that's just one small piece. So when I say that he's like legitimately changed my life from I'm glad I got to him when I did early in my career, so that, as you grow and you expand, it just becomes common practice. And as we talk about governance and training your AI or training, even the people in your team or your business, what are the standards? This binder is the Bible, as you said earlier, for how you're able to do all this stuff. So you're the man.
It's really about that foundation. I want to give you the foundation where you don't have to decide whether or not you're going to build a 1-story home or a 10-story home. That foundation is going to be good for either option.
So I have a couple of questions for the audience and for you. So who has an LLC here? Show of hands.
Or corp, either or.
Or corp. Who has a company? Okay. And did we ask the question, do they have a binder? We asked that question, right? So,
yeah.
Right, okay. Who thinks that they're doing everything right? Okay. Oh, you? Really?
Yeah, I'm confident. Yeah.
Okay. I would suggest you exchange notes with Randy later. Maybe do a 30-minute consultation. Because I know I'm not doing everything right. I mean, I have a binder, it's electronic, but I know that like there are things that I'm not doing which are going to affect what I can deduct, even though I think I can deduct, and probably if I was audited, I might get my wrist slapped, right?
Well, more likely you're going to find that there's things you can deduct that you're
Probably.
not deducting. Right. And we want every penny. I'm a penny pincher. I want every last. I hate the IRS. Real quick, how I got into the IRS. Well, I think I told you about the...
No, you didn't tell us the story.
Okay, so when I was 13, for my birthday, my dad was such a beep. He gave me, for my birthday, because it's February, a Form 1040EZ and instructions, because I had a job as a paper boy. and I had to file taxes. And that was my gift that year. And I thought the taxes went to roads and parks and cops. And I didn't want to pay for the roads I ran down, or the cops I hid, the parks I hid in, or the cops I hid from with taxes. So I was like anti-tax. I'm gonna learn everything I can. I made him go back and get Form 1040, 1040A, Schedule A, Schedule B, Schedule C, Schedule D, I remember, and I started studying them all, 13 years old. It's just part of my life. I hate taxes, but I hate jail more. So I'm not gonna do anything that's gonna get you or me in trouble, but I'm gonna get you every deduction.
So this kind of goes back to, and I'm going to speak with Randy about being part of one of the modules in Launch Lab. It's legal formation and tax formation and capital structure. So it's really like, I know, I'm not going to say name names, but many people who just don't think about how they set up a business. And, you know, even if it comes to, I think you made a point about IP, and maybe if you want to raise capital at some point, like if you don't set the business up the right way, you can't do that. Right? It's not just the taxes. It's like there are other reasons why you want to make sure you set your business up correctly. The main one probably is the taxes, because Randy hates the IRS, right? But there are other reasons. Jonathan.
I just want to add one more thing, because you mentioned it earlier. You said, like, I have it, but it's all digital, right?
Yes.
And the importance of it being paper, which is why, you know, we call it paper versus profit, is that the IRS wants to see your handwriting on those notes. So when I go on vacation now, I have to physically write Disneyland. And then as long as I have a business conversation and I fill those notes out manually, that's the difference between a digital, because AI now, you can just have AI fill it out and they're going to say that it's the same thing as a lawyer filling it out. So, you know, having it in physical form is so important.
So I have a question then, because of how I do it electronically, and I have a image of my signature saved, and I'll put it on the document. Does that count? Okay.
That works.
All right. I feel better now.
Because that shows that you were personally involved.
Okay.
But see, here's the key: is I have these forms made super simple. I love KISS. Keep it super simple, so that it's just easy for you to fill out. It has all of the mumbo jumbo legal jargon that we need to have, but we make it super easy for you to document the necessary information that you have to document for that particular meeting, whether it's an annual or special, and then we've got the proof. I didn't do it, you did it. Either your signature's on there or you have signed it electronically.
I have another question. Would this scale? I mean, most people here are either solopreneurs or they're small businesses with maybe a handful of employees or maybe a handful of founders, right? So, you know, it could be a partnership, or it could be a C Corp with different equity structures and stuff where they have ownership. So, but would this scale? Does it scale for larger businesses as the business grows?
Yes. What I do is I put together a binder that's basically going to cover everybody. Now, there'll be pages in there that you don't need at this time, but you might need later as you grow. Or as you grow, then there becomes, and this is where it's really important that I'm there doing it on an annual basis, because when I'm doing your taxes on an annual basis, I'm looking at your business on an annual basis and looking at what we need to do next. What's the next step? How can we help your business grow? And what do we need to do? And oh, hey, we need this resolution. And you want to know what that resolution costs? Costs you nada, because you're my client. You go, I worked at all, you name the big box places, you know, the big green box places and corporate headquarters and Nevada, I can't say names, I don't want to say names. I worked at all these places. I helped build them, I helped them design their products. And none of them do that for you free. The cheapest one of those is $2,000 to $4,000 to $5,000 more a year than I am. They're just hitting you for everything they can. So.
Does anybody have any questions? Wow. Oh.
I do.
Like to-
So tax prepping and CPA, the combination of both tax prepping and CPA, will that help you keep your books clean and transparent?
Well, see, the problem with the CPA is they're a bookkeeper. Now, I'm not saying a CPA can't go out and get the same education that I've gotten. I've studied the snot out of the IRS regulations. 300,000 pages, something like that. I've studied and studied and studied. I don't know every last little acronym and all that kind of stuff, but if I don't know it, I will, if you need it. But a CPA doesn't do that. You don't see a CPA that says EA, you see it says CPA. And remember, he's licensed, which is just warning you for your own safety. He's licensed to protect you from him. So you see, but the CPA could do all that. I have also an education certificates in entrepreneurship and in business structures. So I've gone out and got whatever education I could get. The only school that provides an education similar to the one that I have, and I say similar because I don't know their education, is Harvard, and you have to have a master's in business in order to take those additional courses. I don't have that master's, and I'm not going to spend that money or that time to go to their school, especially for their fee. Oh my gosh. And risk learning nothing, because I've already kind of figured it out on my own. I read and read and read and read. So yeah, your CPA could do that for you, but he's probably not doing that for you. And if you're questioning it, then I'm pretty sure he's not.
I write everything down on my own. And
yeah, and see, you're just the kind of customer I want. I want you to bring me a freaking list. I want you to bring me a shoebox. Yeah, I want you to know I've answered all your questions. I want you to be confident that you're doing what you need to do. That's what I give you. I give you, at H&R Block, we used to call it peace of mind. They used to sell you a peace of mind. Well, I don't sell it to you. I give it to you.
To the best of my knowledge, the only legal entity that's allowed to give you financial advice is actuaries.
That's when you're talking about actual investment. When we start doing that, I would be like, yes, I can tell you the tax benefits or costs associated with different investments, but I do not do investments. I refer you out to somebody else. I have people, depending on the amount that you're wanting to invest, would determine who I would refer you to. But I don't do those. So I'm not doing that. What I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, you need Keyman insurance. You need life insurance. You need this insurance. You need to do this. Or, okay, you want to own a home or a bigger home? Here's a plan on how we can get you there. What I'm working on right now is funding retirement accounts so that it can be rolled into self-directed IRAs so I can buy my kids' house. They get to cash out their money in the house. They're paid for. They get to cash out the money in their house, put it in their pocket, and still live in the house. And the retirement plan gets to pay the insurance and taxes on it. They have to maintain it, but how cool is that? And it takes a considerable amount of money, but how much is the most you can put in a retirement account a year? 25? Yeah, that's what the typical answer is. Defined benefit plan lets you put $275,000 in it a year. So you put a lot of money into a retirement account. But we got to make the money first.
For people that don't know, what's the benefit of that?
The benefit of that is if you have an $800,000 home, we put $275,000 into your defined benefit for 3 years, roll it into a self-directed IRA. Self-directed IRA, you get to choose how that retirement is invested, and you invest it in your home. Your home's paid off, you just cashed out your home. Now you get to go buy that Tesla Beast, 100 grand, 120 grand, and now I get to write that off for the next 5 years. There's $25,000, $24,000 a year that we're writing off. See how this it's that snowball going downhill. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. There's so many things. The defined benefit plan. We talked about intellectual property. So many times. I had an attorney friend. This is what he did, is he helped businesses get these people that came in and invested in it. They were always wanting 30%. It was 30%, broken record. Some of them were 50%, but what they did was they made sure that the investment was just enough for the company to fail. I watched it time and time again. And then they restarted the business. Now they own not 30%. How much do they own?
100%.
That's right. That's what those investors, in my experience, I'm not saying everybody's that way, but that's my experience. And this attorney, and I knew him from church. This is what drove me nuts. Because, of course, like any other church, we believe in treating people good and right. He was getting kickbacks galore. And I know he knew what was happening, because I could see what was happening. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm not a brain surgeon, but so anyway, I'd rather fund that myself, and that defined benefit plan gets us there. I'm working on intellectual property with another friend of mine. Actually, I'm working on intellectual property with Jonathan, and I already had that back in my mind. I haven't even talked to Jonathan about that.
What?
About what we could do there. Because once you get intellectual property rolling, once you hit that $1 million a year, that's when you need the investors, because you need that money. So in the meantime, if you're taking all of that money that you can and putting it into that defined benefit plan, maybe you have the money and you get to fund that intellectual property for yourself, and then you get to be the next Rockefellers or whatever. Your kids are gonna have money in perpetuity. Who knows?
Jeff had a question.
So, well, I got a statement.
Oh.
So earlier you were describing a particular type of investor. I call those vulture capitalists.
Yeah.
The question I have for you, are you familiar with Form 6765?
Form 6765.
It's the research and development.
No, I'm not. Like I'm saying, I can find out if you really want to sit down with me and we're gonna work together.
It kind of goes in hand with intellectual property, because most intellectual property, you have an R&D goes along with it to bring down intellectual property to reality.
Right. Well, all of that is all of those expenses are 100% deductible. Oh, I'm gonna fall off.
Tax credit, so carry against expenses for, I think, up to 20 years.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. But see, there again, you got to have that nest egg to begin with. How do we get that nest egg? We can do that with other businesses. They're just, it's just everybody's circumstance. That's why it's so key that I know your situation. I know your situation. Talk with you about yours. What is going on in your life, and how can we make sure that we reduce those taxes as much as possible while keeping ourselves out of jail? And I don't want any of these red. I don't want any red flags. My tax returns do not have red flags. I know what a red flag is. I get people come in, they bring me their last 3 tax returns, and I'm like, they didn't audit you? I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Home office, car, travel? No, it's home office, car, are the 2 most audited. I can't remember what the third one is.
Meals, probably.
Meals, yes, meals is like the 3rd most audited expense. People come in there and they're like, yeah, I took $20,000 in vehicle. I take $20,000 in vehicle, but you're not going to fund it on my return. ROUTE spells what?
Route.
Route? It's not root. It's the same word, different pronunciation. So I take route mileage deductions while everybody else is taking route. Route's over here. Route is green, it's golden. Let's go. See, that's how much I'm into this. Is like, how can I outsmart these guys? I've forgotten more about the tax code than most IRS agents will ever know. No joke.
So anyway, I think the key thing is that if you have a business, whether it's an LLC or a C Corp or an S Corp or whatever the structure is, you really have to pay attention from the get-go. Make sure it's built properly, get a binder, right? If it's electronic, make sure you sign it, right? And if you have any questions, come and talk to Randy after, I guess.
Yeah, I'm here to help.
Thank you, Randy. We appreciate it.